Coming up today on the Nice Guys on Business.
Back up to the company I loved that I worked for 6.5 years. And I'm sitting in a training one day. We pull our 50 sales reps out of the field into a week-long training. Now think about the expense to get them there, to keep them there, to not have them selling, and to feed them, entertainment, all that. And I'm looking around, and this is, in my opinion, the worst training ever. So I'm sitting in the back of the room with my boss, and I turn to him, I go, "This blows." And he's like, "I know." I go, "I could do it way better." And he's like, "Okay, you're in charge of the next one." I'm like, "What? Really?" Okay.
The Nice Guys podcast is sort of social, demented and sad, but social, right? Need an education on how to grow your business? The Nice Guys are here to help. Learn about great customer service, networking, and how just being nice can help you prosper. Now, here are your hosts, Doug Sandler and Strickland Bonner.
Funkin' fans, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Welcome back. My name is Strickland Bonner. On the other side of the microphone, Mr. Doug Sandler. And we have like our kind of sort of theme-ish kind of thing today. We're wrapping up with Jen Gluckow.
Jen Gluckow, what a great guest. Again, I had a chance to go to Charlotte, North Carolina and spend some time with Jen and Jeffrey Gittimer. Jen Gluckow, she is Jeffrey's right-hand woman and companion and girlfriend. And man, this girl is a firecracker. She wrote a book called Jen's Top 10 for Sales Zen. Interesting story, really interesting story. Went from full-time working class chick to somebody that wanted to do her own thing and go into her own business. Talks about I can relate to this, all of the struggles that you go through when you go from working for an organization to working on your own. You got to worry about how you're paying your bills, got to worry about how you're going to get customers, got to worry about how you're going to do all of the minutia that you have to do with your daily activities. But she does a really good job. She explains how she got into this sales zen mode. Definitely a good chick, good girl, good person, good interview.
Good interview. I mean, that's what's really important. That's what it's all about. It's a really good interview with Jen. And why don't we talk about Overcast, because we're slipping.
Oh yeah, we're not. You know, you said this on Wednesday, and I was going to correct you, but I'm like, okay, well, it sounds kind of good, so I'm just going to let it stick. But we're still number one in the business category, but we're in the overall category. We were somewhere around 4 or 5. I don't think maybe we were as high as number 3, but there was always a couple of people ahead of us. But we're down to like 12, at least as of the late last week. I thought
we were number one most recommended before, right?
No, we've never been the number one most recommended. That would be a double whammy. That would be number one in the business category and number one most recommended. That would be like ahead of everybody.
Where are we in the business category?
Business category, we're number one. We're solid, man.
Okay, good.
We've been there. We're doing well. We get 96,000 downloads last month. We're hoping to get even a few more this month. But I know we are eking ever so closely to that 1 million mark, and we're going to be there, I know, by November 1st. But anyway, let me go back to Overcast for a second. If you are listening on Overcast, take a quick moment, hit the little recommend button. That's the star key. Go back as many episodes as you can. Please do that. That would be a big, huge help to us. Just one quick mention also, our friends at Dallin Miller PR, they are putting together a podcast placement service. They're actually not putting it together. They have put together. It is thepodcastteam.com. If you think that you want to market your products or services and you think podcasting is the way to go, Dallin Miller and the podcast team is the way to do it. Jason, Jimmy, Dallin, and the gang over there, they will definitely hook you up. So make sure you check it out. It is thepodcastteam.com. Pricing is right there on their website, so you can take a look. If you can have a 12, a 24, or a 36 podcast placement package that you can do with them, and tell them the nice guy sent you. I'm sure that Dallin and his gang over there will give you a nice, healthy, juicy discount. If they don't, then it's because they're maybe not nice. I think they are pretty nice though.
I don't think they'd be our sponsor if they weren't nice.
Yeah, that's
true. We pick and choose these pretty carefully.
We do. And Dallin, he's a good guy. He reached out to me a couple of months ago and said, I want to work with you. And remember, he was the guy that placed Mo Gaudat, Solve for Happy, on our show, and that's probably one of the most downloaded episodes that we've ever had. So check out Dallin, thepodcastteam.com. Okay, let's just do it. Do you have any? You're not playing with those fidget spinners anymore, are you?
I'm constantly playing with them now because I can't put them down, but that doesn't matter.
Have you made a fidget spinner sandwich as the picture shows?
Yeah, I did. I spun one in one direction, one in the other direction. It's really cool.
Oh, yeah, but you haven't done 3 on top of each other,
I haven't done 3 yet, no.
That would be amazing. It would be like a fidget spinner sandwich.
Right, we can do that at podcast movie.
Leave some of those at home. I don't want to spend them. I don't want to use them all.
I got it. I'm on it.
Did you put our business card? Do you have business cards for us?
I do.
All right, so you have like the list of things that you need. Strickland, I don't want you to leave anything at home.
I got them.
Okay, so you have your recorder, the double-edged.
God, one time I leave one recorder at home, and I'm never going to fucking live it down. Jesus.
So you got
which we didn't end up even using. Okay.
You got so you have the recorder and you have the fidget spinners. You're going to take those with you, and you have our business cards.
Yeah.
Where did you get the business cards?
Vistaprint.
Okay, so they weren't very expensive. So even though you made the mistakes on Mars, we can.
No, it's not a very expensive mistake. I'm just annoyed. And we got 50% off our first order. So that's why I ended up ordering 4. I ordered them for all of us because it's like, well, if I can get 50% off the first order, let's get it off of all of them.
How many sets of cards did you get?
What did I get? 500 for each of us, I think.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
500 wrong for Mar with her wrong freaking name on it. Inland instead of England.
Throw them away. Just throw them away. Don't hold on to them. We're never going to need them. Just throw them away.
I feel like an idiot.
You just don't forget to take my cards though, because I'm the business development guy. You're the production guy. You don't really have to even have any cards, do you?
I don't have to have any, but I want to have some because I want to feel special. I've already got them packed.
All right, why don't we get to our interview with Jen Gluckow here on the Nice Guys on Business podcast. Let's do it.
To sell or not to sell? I mean, isn't that the question?
Of course.
Or maybe it's to sell or die. So Jen Gluckow gets it. She is the host of Sell or Die podcast, along with Nice Guy Friend and the King of Sales. Now, he's the self-proclaimed King of Sales, isn't
correct. That is correct.
Jeffrey,
but no one debates it because he really
who's
is.
going to mess with Jeffrey? Nobody wants to fuck with him.
Exactly.
So Jeffrey Gitomer, the King of Sales. Jen is the author of Jen's Top 10 for Sales Zen, a book short on pages but long on impact. So welcome, Jen, to the Nice Guys on Business podcast.
Thanks. I'm so excited to be here.
So share where we are, because this is pretty cool. Was this here when you got here, Jen?
It was. It did not look as cool as this. Doug, our producer. So we're in our studio in Charlotte right now, and Doug, our producer, just totally came in one day, and he's like a godsend, and just overhauled the entire studio. And
this is a podcaster's dream that's in here. So for you to be able to do now your Sell or Die podcast, you come out once a week. Mm-hmm. So I'm sensing 5 days a week at some point from you.
Maybe.
Did I just scare the hell out of you?
I think you scared the hell out of Doug.
Yeah, maybe so. So they have the Sell or Die podcast, and Jen, along with Jeffrey, produced that podcast. Amazing. We'll make sure we put a link in the show notes so that you guys have access to that show as well. If you have not listened to Sell or Die, I know it sounds a little bit challenging. It could be sell or die. It's kind of drastic, but no, listen to it, check it out. A lot of great guests. Jen and Jeffrey do a great job of interviewing the folks that come on your show.
Thank you.
So, Nice Guy community, you can't see, or maybe you can see Jen if you're checking this out on video, but you can't. But if you're listening to it on audio, Jen is pint-sized. Yet, but you don't want to fuck with her because she plays big in the sales game, winning over a lot of corporate clients, huge corporate clients, as a matter of fact, with her sales training and consulting business. Jen, when did you realize that sales was the direction that you wanted to go? Because it's not typically, a little bit demure until you open up your mouth, and I realize that you're not.
Well, I seem like a nice guy, and I am nice, but you're right. Don't mess with me. I realized when I was literally 5 years old, 6 years old, that I wanted to go into sales. My mom was in sales. My dad was in sales. I saw it every day, and I would sell bracelets outside the supermarket. No one else was selling anything.
Well, they were selling Girl Scout cookies out there.
They might have been.
But Jewish girls don't sell Girl Scout cookies outside of supermarkets.
They don't. And I would customize them. And I realized at a very young age the power of creating something that someone else would want. So it wasn't about the bracelet that I wanted. It was about what the customer wanted. So they would put in their order. And then a week later, they'd go grocery shopping again. And I'd be standing outside the supermarket, and I'd have their order ready for them.
So tell me a little bit about this journey to self-employment, because you went from, at some point, I'm assuming, unless you were 100% commission, I don't 100% know where you were, but unless you went from this safety net called a paycheck benefits, everything else, living
Yeah.
in New York City, right?
Yep,
Or outside
yep.
of New York.
In New York,
And
in New York.
then going into this spot where you just said, I'm going to dump all of that safety net and I'm going to do my own thing. So talk about that, because I think we have a lot of people in our Nice Guy community that are thinking, I don't know, that's a big step to take. How did you know that that was right?
It's a huge step to take. And at first, I didn't make that step. I knew I wanted to leave the company I'd been with. I'd been there for 6.5 years, and I was a chicken. And I went and I became COO of a test prep and admissions counseling company.
Wait,
because,
a what? Test prep and admission? Oh,
you know,
like
they helps kids study for the
Oh,
SATs,
okay.
and they help you get into college
Okay.
or law school or whatever. And after 2 months, I realized I needed to have started my own business. What was I thinking?
Well, how did you
And-
even get it? What was the test prep? That doesn't sound like that would even be up your alley at all.
Well, I had worked in educational software as sales and sales management and leadership. And then I just wanted to get out. And you know, I had all these
Big step.
advisors like my mother saying, you don't quit your job unless you have something else.
Well, yeah, mom's the safety net. Mom's the
Exactly.
safety
And
net.
you have this great secure job. Is, you know, you can do it from anywhere. I could travel all over and manage my team from anywhere in the
Right,
country. It was
right.
really a cushy job.
Right.
And I just thought, okay, I gotta go get a job. And I realized that was the wrong move.
How far into this next job with this test prep did you say, this is not what I want? And then how do you get out of that? Because I know that's got to be a big decision to make to do it. And then
Yeah.
how do you tell your boss, hey, I'm done?
So first of all, finding the test prep company was incredibly difficult because I was working 60, 70, 80 hours a week. So when you make time to even search for a job.
Right.
So that was always my excuse. I don't have any time. I can't search. Okay. So I find the job.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realize, and this is not, I don't have the company on my LinkedIn. I don't associate myself with this company at all because I realized the guy wasn't ethical. And
So it made
I
it a
was
little easier for you,
really
though.
lucky
Right,
that he
really
was an
lucky
ass to work for. I hope I'm allowed to say that on your show.
No. Fuck no. Don't say anything like that. No.
But he was a jerk, and he would take all the money and then tell me to go tell the contractors we couldn't pay them because there was no money that week.
Okay.
And I'm like, yeah, I can't do this.
So it was an easy jump out
It
of
was
that.
a really easy jump out, and that's when I just went full force right into my own business.
So when did you realize, based upon making that jump, that transition out of the safety net of having a full-time job into the non-safety net of the high wire and doing your own thing, when did you realize that you had your hands on something that was going to work? Because isn't that fear, that
Oh, yeah,
portion of time?
yeah.
So we talk about that.
Back up to the company I loved that I worked for 6.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting in a training one day. We pull our 50 sales reps out of the field into a week-long training. Now think about the expense to get them there,
Right.
to keep them there, to not have them selling, and to feed them, entertainment, all that. And I'm looking around, and this is, in my opinion, the worst training ever. So I'm sitting in the back of the room with my boss, and I turn to him, I go, this blows. And he's like, I know. I go, I could do it way better.
Oh, okay. There's the seed.
And he's like, oh, okay, you're in charge of the next one. I'm like, what? Really? Okay. And I had no idea what I was doing because I'd never done it before. I had
Right.
only been to bad trainings, pretty
Right.
much. And I put together what in the surveys they said was the best training. One person said it was the best training she'd ever attended in 25 years of
Wow.
selling.
So you kind of knew you had your hands on something, but not enough to make the jump because your mom's voice was in the back of your head saying,
Safety,
net.
don't go.
So you made the jump, the transition, and was it immediately? Was it okay, or was there a transition period for you, or what?
So I immediately got into networking. And I went to this networking meeting by chance. Some guy invited me that I met playing tennis. And I walk in, there's 80 networkers, 80 members in the room.
Right.
And I walk in, I'm like, oh my God, this is a little intimidating. What's going on? And then all of a sudden they go through their commercials and, each one's
Was this
standing up.
was this like one of the BNI kind
Yes.
of meetings? So everybody's introducing themselves, telling a little bit about what's going on in their life, and who would be the best fit for them as
Exactly.
a company.
Who you should refer to them.
Right,
And I'm like, oh, I can make this referral for this person, this referral for that person. I could use this person's services. And I'm just going down the list and clicking off everyone I want to connect with after.
I'm thinking in my mind, you're already building a networking course.
Oh, yes,
Is that
I
right?
am.
Right, because I can see
am.
you're a systems person.
Yeah.
Just in the last couple of days since I've been here in Charlotte, I've seen you build systems, and that's what you excel at.
Thank you. So I'm just thinking, like, I wasn't thinking about what I could get. I was only thinking about, I can make this connection for this person. Someone said, I want to meet the CEO of this company. It happened to be a Fortune 500 company, and the CEO is someone I went to high school with. I'm like, I can, easy, let me meet you. Let me make sure I think you're credible, and then I can connect you. And that's a key, by the way.
Right.
And before I left that day, I submitted my application to become a member. And within a year and a half of being a member of this group, I was a leader of the group and whatnot. But that created my business.
All right. So, but in a year and a half, a lot of rent could not be paid. A lot of mortgages can falter. A lot of credit card bills can be missed. How'd you survive for the year and a half? Because I think, I think that's where most people are in that. I don't know. I don't have 6 months of salary in the bank. I mean, were you lucky to put saving some money? Or?
I was very lucky to have savings. And I was very lucky that one company I was working with but didn't pay my commissions until I left. And they owed me like a year of commissions.
Wow.
So I was very lucky on that because
right.
that was like instant jackpot, right?
Let me ask you this. Would you have put it on your credit card? Would you have put your...
If I believed in the idea as much as I did... then yes, I would have.
Okay.
For someone out there who's thinking about starting their own thing and doesn't have that savings and doesn't have that luxury, I was single. I had no responsibility. I have no kid, no pet, no nothing, right? Except a very expensive storage closet, which is called an apartment in New York City.
Right.
If you don't have that little net, do something on the side. You don't have to start it all at once.
Well, I noticed some of your habits while we were here, and one of the habits that you don't fall into this trap of, and many people do, is I haven't seen you watch a moment of television since I've been here.
No, I don't watch TV.
And or really, and part of it is I almost think, do you guys have balance? It must be really challenging. You work 24/7, but I can sense that you love what you do, and that kind of is. And I was talking to Jeffrey a little bit earlier about this. It's it's just when you do what you love, it doesn't feel like you're working.
It doesn't feel like work, exactly. Right. But one of the hardest things is finding balance, and is being able to break away to go to Jeffrey's daughter's, dance at school and feeling conflicted with, but I have these meetings, but I want to see the performance, you know. And so there is that I do sometimes feel conflicted, but it's okay.
But I also notice that you guys do things like you'll take a break and go out to lunch, which a lot of people won't do. And you guys do have conversation. You talk about stuff other than business.
Some of the time, the best ideas come up when you're not working.
Well, we were sitting around chatting after dinner last night, and it was like the best ideas came as we were sitting at the kitchen table, and I was just leaning against the kitchen counter. And it is amazing that you do get. And we had this conversation at lunch today. We talked about, how do you go from working?
We've taken you to a lot of meals. It sounds like you've come to Charlotte and you've had like 16 meals.
I really have.
In 2 days.
All I've done is I've come here and I've eaten. But you spend, and most people spend way too much time, and we did chat about this at lunch today, working in their business and not on their business. And I think that's a big challenge because a lot of people don't have the resources to do to pay the VA or to have the staff. Give me some advice for somebody. What can they do to begin to make that step?
Yeah, so it's not just working on the business. I think it's also working on yourself. So waking up, reading something happy, getting your mindset in the right mood, working out to release that energy. I mean, working out is a critical part of...
Talk about your bike.
So I recently got the Peloton, and if you have it, you'll know why I'm saying this, but I'm obsessed. It's the coolest thing on the planet.
I thought you got it. When I came in, Jen was so proud of her Peloton. Is that what it's called? Her Peloton. I thought she had a pelican. And I'm like, why do you want to show me a fucking bird?
There's a leaderboard, and it's competitive, and you can race against yourself.
For somebody that's in sales, I can see that you love this. It's amazing.
If you're in sales and you like to spin, you would love this.
It is amazing. You do find an opportunity to break away from work and do that other stuff. And one of my concerns...
Well, you have to.
You have to.
Okay, and for a while I wasn't. And I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't eating the right things or working out or focusing on those things that keep me sane. And my business suffered.
Yeah.
If you're not focusing on yourself or on your business, then how could you be successful?
Well, you wrote this short powerhouse of a book.
Yes.
Jen Zen, right?
Yes,
10
Top 10 for sales Zen.
Okay,
Yep.
so, and I noticed in looking at the book last night, it's a very quick read, and Nice Guy Community will put a link in the show notes so that you have an opportunity to get that book right from Jen. But it is a lot of the things that we're talking about right now. It's building relationships. It's about taking time for yourself. It's about putting positive thoughts into your brain. You know, Nice Guy Community, especially the Funkin' fans, the ones that are most hardcore into this community, you've got to know how much we really do promote feeding your brain with proper information. If you don't do it, you're not going to succeed. So just spend a second just talking about how critical that stuff is in the game of winning at not just selling, but in life.
I get inspired every time I open up an old book and read about the sales strategies of the past. And I think about how they haven't really changed much. Other than Amazon, which is really, in my opinion, the only major change in the internet. People are still selling the same way. People want to buy from people they know, love, trust,
right.
And they want to work with people they like, and they want to have fun, and they want delivery after the sale, and all the strategies have remained the same. And so I like to take an old book and read about it. And if I read new stuff, it tricks me up because I'm writing my own stuff, and I don't want to sound like someone else. But the old stuff is just so genuine, and you feel the pages, and they're so old. It's cool.
To know Jen and Jeffrey is to take a walk through their library upstairs. How many books do you think are up there?
About 10,000.
10,000 books. It's Jeffrey and Jen have a loft, or many lofts here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and it's a living, breathing memorial to sales masters past and present. It is just an incredible place to check out some really cool stuff. Jen, give me a project too that you're working on right now.
I am writing a book on sales and selling. It'll come out sometime early next year.
All right.
And I'm writing a book on networking and a course on networking as well. And they keep me busy. I
haven't seen you sit down.
No, I don't. I speak all over the country. So I go in and speak to sales teams and help them increase their sales and inspire them and that kind of thing. But, I love sitting here and writing.
Do you get any inspiration from that Gittimer guy?
Oh, no inspiration at all.
So Nice Guy Community, we'll make sure we put all the information about Jen and how to get a hold of her book, how to get a hold of her for doing training and lecturing and speaking at your company retreats or wherever you're doing your conferences as well. Jen, thank you so much for being a part of the show.
Thank you.
Nice Guy Community, never underestimate the power of nice. Again, special thanks to Jen Gluckow for being a part of the show. All of her information will be in the show notes, including getting the book and getting her to come out to your company. Steve O'Brien, take us out of here.
Call 4242 DJ Doug and record an intro for the show to hear on a future episode. Say anything you want. Hell, take my job. I'm getting sick of these guys anyway. We still rolling? Don't tell him I said that.